Yeah, and also I think being a maker can be really rewarding because you can look at what you have and it's right there and it's there to be seen. And in fact, Jeremías' dad is also a maker in his own right. And so I think it's wonderful that he's doing something where he's working with his hands. And because I'm also an artist in a different field, but it's been wonderful for us to share that. When you started, I felt like I could really talk to you about concept. And in fact, before I did my MFA, I wasn't really able to talk about concept in quite that way. And that's one of the pleasures of being involved in education and really studying. And so back to Jeremías, the other thing I wanted to ask you was, what's your biggest challenge what do you feel your biggest challenge is? Actually, no, I'm not going to ask that because with my clients, I really like to start with what's working. So I'm going to do that with you. Okay, so resetting to that, what do you feel your particular skill or talent is, maybe in your work? And it could be more general to your art, like concept or...
Sure. I think I'm good at figuring out a good concept for things. I think that is usually my strong suit, but I think the skill that I have the best right now that's helping me in jewelry is probably just passion, because I know that sounds cheesy, but I don't really feel like in terms of the skills that we learn in class, I never really feel like I click with it as quickly as with other things. Like I never felt like when I watched someone do something I wasn't instantly able to replicate it. Like there were definitely some students in my class that would go crazy. Like there were some animation students, my first year class, and they made like all these crazy like masks with like clouds and rainbows on it and all this crazy stuff, and were able to make this really impressive work. And I always had to like be like I had to be like guided by the studio managers there into making my project. But funnily enough, I still managed to find a great passion for it. And yeah, I mean, that's something that I also struggle with, is I feel like sometimes I don't have like a natural talent for it, which is a little frustrating, because I feel like with drawing I do have a bit of a natural talent, and with some other things that I've done.
So you're working on your growing edge all the time. Like you're on a steep learning curve when it comes to the actual crafting of it, whereas I would guess that passion and concept are not something that are hard for you to find artistically.
No, not at all.
But the actual construction, and I think the things that we love and are good at are often right next to the things we find challenging, and that's one way of knowing when you've found a place that you should be, because that is happening. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I really I don't think that I would have been able to get this far in jewelry if I hadn't like been really into advocating and like making relationships with like the studio managers and my teachers and stuff, and getting them to also become passionate in my own projects, and then be able to give me advice and help me out with things. So
it's also about relationships.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. And that's one thing that I like about it, is that I also feel comfortable making relationships with people and making friends with people. It doesn't matter who they are or what position they have in life.
I can attest to that. I can absolutely attest to it. Jeremías is really good at, when he was at school, he would always make friends with the new person who would come in, because he really remembered how that felt. And of course I'm proud about that. So I'm sharing that, yes. Yeah. Seeing those emojis out there supporting you. So I think we've really touched on your challenge in kind of as we started to talk about what your skills are, and then also on the power of relationships and connection, which is why we do public speaking, because we have a message. It's also why we do art, because we have a message or something that we want to share and reflect back from our own humanity to that of other people. So we're going to finish it today,
okay, sure.
But thank you so much for being here.
No problem.
And here's to unlocking your performance power in whatever sphere you are doing that in or striving to do that in right now.